Hi there, how are you doing today? Namaste, good morning, afternoon, wherever you are. My name is Vishnu Dutt and I work as a network architect in Cisco. We are going to continue our discussion, right? So in the last video, you have seen that we made sure that this edge comes up, right? So this edge was able to install the certificate from the Vmanage, and basically it was up and running, right? So it means if you have gone through my theory sessions, you already know that once that this V edge comes up and running, right, it is going to initiate three tunnels, one towards the V bond, right, one towards the V smart, and one towards the Vmanager. So basically, we are going to see these three DTLS connection, right? So uh, last time what we did, we installed certificate authority root certificate into this system as a first step. And then we did some configuration with respect to VPN 0. And once that configuration was up and running, this device was able to reach to vBond, vSmart, and vManager. And then we used a request command to activate this window, sorry, this VH, right? And after activating that VH, it was able to successfully get its certificate from the Vmanage, and then it was part of my SD-WAN network, right? So if you can see here, I have opened this. I have opened this edge device, and if I do show control connection, I should see three connections, right? Let me make this slightly bigger. And if I do enter here, yeah, sure enough, as you can see, we have three different DTLS tunnels. These are the DTLs, one to vSmart, one to vBond, and the other one is to vManage, right? So first edge is up, everything is working fine. What we are going to do now is we are going to make sure that this edge, which is branch to site to image, site to edge, and then data center edge, which is your DCH2, is going to come up. Okay, and how we are going to make sure that it is going to come up by making sure that we install a root certificate at the first step. Then we are going to do some configuration on the VPN 0 side so that this interface or the VPN 0 should be able to reach vSmart, vBond, and vManage, right? And the third step, what we are going to do is we are going to activate this VH. Very simple. And I do not want to repeat the entire process again because you already know that how to make sure that this VH comes up, get its certificate from the Vmanage, and becomes part of your SD-WAN network. Okay. So what I'll do is I will make sure that these two edges are up, and once these two edges are up, we will continue. So what exactly we are going to do in today's session, right? Today's hands-on. We are trying to make a topology, right? Although you can see we have MPLS and internet both transports here, right? But what we are going to do here is we will be having only one transport, which is internet. We will make sure that this DC edge 2 comes up, which is connected to internet. And then we already have this up and running, which is your branch 1, edge 1, and the other one is your branch 2, edge 1, right? We'll make sure all these edges comes up. And by the way, guys, we have two transport on branch 1 edge and DC edge, and we are making sure to begin with that we are only choosing internet transport, and there is a reason behind it. What I want is to begin with everything should look simple, right? And that is our approach in our theory sessions also. So I would advise, before doing this activity, before doing this hands-on, just go through our theory videos, right, which we already have with you. So uh, we want to make sure that this topology is going to come up, and we will be seeing that once these edges comes up, they are going to make the OMP uh, peering with uh, with your vSmart, right? This is your vSmart. So every edge is going to make a connection with your vSmart, and once it is done, vSmart is going to send the TLOCs and the route information. Although we do not have anything here at the VPN 0 side, right? Nothing. But still, I want to make sure that you understand that if we do not have the routes, then vSmart is anyhow going to send us the TLOC information. And what is the TLOC information? The TLOC information is this one, which means uh, it is going to be identified by this system IP. It is going to be identified the encapsulation, which is going to be IPsec, and the color. And the color we have chosen is business internet. Very simple, right? So once this is means without doing anything, once we make sure that these edges are up, we are going into we will go into Vmanage and look exactly what we are learning in these edges, and this is going to be very important. Although we do not have anything at the VPN 0 interface, and the whole sole purpose what we are doing here is to advertise these service side routes, right? But we do not have anything. So, and that is where we will introduce the concept of templates. So we will be configuring the service side part through templates, and it is going to be very uh, interesting session. So once we are done with the template, we talk about how to work with some of the policies concept of SD-WAN, right? So as you all know that to begin with, everything is full mesh in SD-WAN. If you do not know, I'm again requesting you just go and watch my videos, which you already have with you, right? Theory part should be clear before you come and do hands-on here, right? So this is very simple for now. As you can see that this edge, which is already up and running, it is forming 3 DTLS connection, and I'll make sure that these two edges comes up. And when these two edges comes up, I'll again come back to this video, and we will start and we will configure whatever I mentioned you, right? So having said that, let's bring up our edges. Okay. Okay, so I am back here, and what I did in the meantime, I made sure that these two edges, the one edge in the data center and the other one is the branch 2 of this topology, is up and running, right? Uh, in and you already know that the BR1 edge 1 or the branch 1 edge 1 is already up and running, and it is forming the DTLS tunnels, right? If we can see here now what is going on with respect to this BR to VH1, right? If I do a show control connections here, and this is good that we are forming tunnels to vSmart, Vbond, and Vmanage from our branch 2 also. If you consider here, which is my data center VH, and if I show you that how is the control tunnels going on here, if I do show control connections, it is good. We are making 3 different DTLS connection, which is the requirement, right? So now, as you can see, we have already built the control connections with all these controllers. Now, let's check what exactly happening in terms of OMP, right? So if I just repeat the concept, suppose you have so many edges in your SD-WAN network, and we have a vSmart device, right? What first thing first happen is these VH device will form a control connection, which you can see here, right here, vSmart. And over this control connection, they form OMP neighborship, right? So if we have 3 edges in our network, or 3 V edges, C edges, doesn't matter, they are going to initiate a DTLS tunnel, which they are, if you can see, right? They are forming 2 more tunnels, but we are just focusing on the tunnel which they are making with vSmart, right? This is tunnel number 1, this is tunnel number 2, and this is tunnel number 3. So we have 3 edges, 3 different DTLS tunnels. Now, exactly what happens after that? They will be having OMP neighborship, right? So if I go on these edges and do a command that do we have any OMP peer at this edge? So it should show, because I have only one vSmart, it should show that yes, there is a OMP peering with the vSmart, and that is what I would like to showcase you here, right? If you see here, if I do show OMP peers, and sure enough, if you can see, we are having a OMP peer, which is my vSmart, right? And the IP address or the IP address which is configured on this interface of the vSmart, this interface is .31, which it is saying that yes, you are peering with the vSmart over the OMP. So this is your OMP peering. Similarly, we should see the same thing here also, right? If I do show OMP peer, sure enough, you can see this, and here also the same thing, show OMP peering, right? And now the important question again, right? Now, what happens when you initiate a OMP peering? The first thing first, which happens, these edge routers starts sending their routes. And what 2 routes we have generally, which these vEdge routers are going to share as an OMP update? Those are going to be V routes, right? Which are the routes of your service side. And the second one is the TLOC information. Again, repeating, just go through the videos. We have explained all these things in great detail there, right? Very simple concept, but we do not have virtual routes here because we haven't configured any VPN at the service side, right? So we do not have any virtual routes. So what we are going to do is we are going to advertise only TLOC information, right? And what does a TLOC contain? It contains system IP, it contains the encapsulation type, and it also contains the system IP encapsulation and the color, right? So if I see that in BR1, what exactly I have in terms of TLOCs, right? So if I do show OMP TLOC paths, right? If I do this command, then you are going to see that this guy BR1 edge 1, which is here, it is having 3 TLOCs path, right? One is its own, because 200.1 IP address, the system IP belongs to this guy, right? And what is 200.2? 200.2 is the IP address of this guy, which is branch 2, and 200.101 is the system IP of DC Edge 2, right? Very simple. It means that OMP is doing its job, right? It is transferring or exchanging this TLOC information with this guy. And if you want to go a little bit deeper into this and do this command, show OMP TLOCs, it is going to showcase you that yes, they are learning 3 TLOC information, right? One, its own, obviously, and the second thing is and everything is received from this .31, and .31 is nothing but your peer, which is your OMP peer, and which is your vSmart, right? So what vSmart is doing, it is receiving all the TLOC information first, right, over the OMP peering, and then it is transferring, or it is reflecting them back to each and every edges, and that is why you are seeing these TLOC information. And now the interesting thing which happens, right? Every VH knows, right? Every VH knows the TLOC information of other VH. For example, this VH know what is the T-lock of this guy. And at the end of the day, guys, I have mentioned you this T-lock is just nothing but representing an IP address which you configured on the VPN 0 interface, right? So this T-lock is advertised, this T-lock is advertised, and every edge knows the other uh, every edge knows the T-lock information of every other edge, and that is why, because they know, because this guy now know the IP address of this guy, they start creating their data tunnels, which we also call the BFD tunnels or IPsec tunnels, right? So if you do, pretty interesting thing, guys. If you go to any of this VHs and do show BFD, right? Maybe summary. Yes, not summary actually. Show BFD. Let me see what are the options here. And if you can see here, show BFD sessions, we are going to see that, of course, we are making two BFD sessions from this BR1 VH, and there are two sessions, right? Pretty easy. Let me change the color. So basically one session is this one session is this one. Sorry, one session is this one is this one. If you are considering this one. So we are on this edge right here, and we can see that there are two BFD or IPsec connections. One is this one, the other one is this one, which is up and running. And how they are forming these connections? Because every edge knows where exactly the TLOC information for other edge, and the TLOC is just nothing. It is just an IP address, right? Represented by three different information, and we have explained that in greater detail in our theory sessions. So if you see here, this guy knows everything about this guy. This guy knows everything about this guy. They all know, and that is why there is a default behavior of SD-WAN which says the tunnels are going to be fully meshed, right? And that is why you are seeing these three tunnels, because we have three devices. But it doesn't mean that if we have 7 devices, you are going to have 7 tunnels. If you have 7 devices and all the TLOC information has been exchanged, then you are going to do 7 into 7 minus 1 divided by 2, which is your 7 into 6 divided by 2, which is going to be your 21, right? So in 7 devices, the full mesh is going to be 21, right? But the interesting thing is we can see all this information right here. Okay. Now what I want to do is I want to present all this information, everything to you in the Vmanage also. So all this, whatever we have, I have shown you in CLI, we can have the exact information. We can see the exact information in Vmanage also. So having said that, let's see. We are seeing here our Vmanage. Okay, just give me a minute, guys. Okay. So if you can see the Firefox browser where I have opened this, okay, let me clean the board first. Okay. So whatever information I was showcasing you on CLI, we can see everything here in the Vmanage also. Okay. So you can see we have 3 control connections up here, and then you can see we have 3 edges up and running, which is good, which we have done, right? And I have explained you how to bring up the VH in the last video. You can do the remaining 2 on your own, right? And once we have all this information, you have a pretty good data to see that, okay, you can see the control connections, you can see the data tunnels, and which I'm going to showcase you, right? Here. We have one Vbond, Vmanage, and now this is the time to see some of the statistics which we were seeing on the CLI. So if you go here, if you go into monitor section and go to the network, right here, and you can open any device from here. For example, if you open this BR1 VH1, okay, here you go. This is the BR1 VH1. And if you go just down and see here control connections, it is going to tell you that it is making a control connection with vSmart as well as Vmanage. And why it is not showing the connection with vBond? Because the vBond connection, if a edge device make a vBond connection, right, the DTLS connection, it is going to be the transient one. What is the meaning of transient one? The meaning is really simple. When VH comes up, the first thing first it is going to do is it is going to create a connection with your vBond, right? To get all the information like where my vSmart is, where my Vmanage is. But once it is done, it doesn't require, right? It doesn't require the vBond connections. That's why it is a transient one. VH creates that connection and then tear it down, right? So as you can see now, here we have one connection toward the vSmart. Here we have one connection toward the Vmanage. Very simple, right? Similarly, if you can see, if I go and open the T-lock thing for you here, you are going to see that what is the T-lock available at this this edge router, right? So we have only one color, we have only one internet, and by the way, in this edge router we are having two transport, but I have enabled only one transport, which is only internet connection. And here you can see the state is up, and we have learned that why we are collecting this jitter, loss, and latency information. Correct, guys? We went through one of the theory section where we explained application aware routing, right? These all things are important, right? So for now, if you can see, we have in terms of a T-lock, in terms of interface, we have only business in biz internet interface here, right? Oh, sorry, color here. And if you go to the tunnel, which this guy is making, right? Okay, so we have this one, correct? So let me explain you this once again. So we are in BR1 VH here, and it is making a connection or the IPsec connection with the data center VH and the branch 2 VH, right? So that is why it is going to have two IPsec connections, which I have mentioned here. This is the connection number 1, right? And the connection is from BR1 VH to BR2 VH here, and the transport is internet, as you can see, right? And the second connection is towards data center VH, and the transport is again internet. Very simple. What are the two different interfaces? Means this interface and this interface. It is going to show you that what interfaces are used for this data connection or the IPsec connection, right? This is very simple. Local transport is this one. Remote transport is this one. We are having IPsec connection, right? Very, very simple. So whatever I have shown you there in CLI, you can see everything here in the UI also, right? So till now, what we have done, till now, we have made sure that our edges are up, right? These edges are up. Edge 1, Edge 2, and Edge 3. These are up, right? They are forming a OMP pairing with the vSmart over these DTLS connections, which is again we have seen. And what we have seen extra, we have seen that we are creating the data tunnels or the BFD tunnels between these edges, right? Because vSmart has transferred or exchanged all the T-lock information. We know all these IP addresses, right? And that is why we are creating 3 different IPsec or BFD tunnels. It's as simple as that, right? Having said that, now what we are going to do is we are just going to do configure the VPN or the service side VPN, right here. And this is nothing but your LAN side. And how we are going to do that? We are going to do that with the help of templates. So now what we are going to do is we will be creating your service site or this LAN site, I think, and we are going to use the templates, right? And we are going to configure the LAN side of your branch 1. We are going to configure LAN side of branch 2, and similarly of your data center also. The concept is going to be very simple. Again, if you do not know much about templates, just see the theory section, right? So now we are going into the Vmanage to create some of the templates for us. Okay, so I am just deleting this board and I'm going here. If you can see, to create templates, you need to go here and then here, templates. But before understanding this, before we go and create templates, let's try to understand a little bit deeper about these templates. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm just putting them aside. Now try to understand what we are going to do. If you consider here this branch 2 VH1, right? At the LAN side, we have this interface, which is gigabit Ethernet 0/2, right? And as you can see that we have only one subnet, which is 10.2.1.0, right? So we are going to configure .1, the first IP address here. And I have made sure that I have configured this guy already, right? So what we are going to do is, what the configuration should be looking, that we are going to create another VPN because VPN 0 is already there. And for service side, we are going to create one more VPN. Suppose we are going to create VPN number 10, right? Which represent my LAN side. So in this VPN, I'm going to say interface gigabit Ethernet 0/2 is part of this VPN, right? I am going to configure IP address here, right? And then and from where I'm going to do all these things. There are two possible ways. I can choose the CLI method, but there is no point if you are using SD-WAN and you are doing everything from the CLI, right? What you can do that if you have the similar same site, maybe you have same site, remote site where there is only one internet connection, then you can say this is my type. This is the site which comes under the same category, that they are having only one internet connection, they are having only one LAN site connection. So what we are going to do is we can create a template in Vmanage, right, for all of your 100 sites, and then we are going to put we are going to push that configuration back to all these devices, right? So first thing first, what we are going to do here is we are going to create a VPN 10. We are going to assign interface into this VPN 10 and then IP address. And if I were here, the branch 1 site, then basically I am running OSPF here, by the way, guys. So it means that I need to enable OSPF at my LAN side. And it means that I need to create a different template for this guy, because this network is totally different as compared to this network. And believe me, guys, if you want to use templates efficiently, try to understand your network first, right? For example, you can have such sites, maybe you can have 100 such sites, you can have 50 such sites, right? So you need to plan that one template can be used for all these 100, right? But this template, because we do not have any OSPF configured here, cannot be used here, right? But one OSPF template can be used at these 50 sites. You do not need to repeat those 50. And believe me, I have seen people who do not manage these templates, and that is why there is a lot of issues. They create hundreds of templates, and then basically the management of those templates becomes very, very daunting task. Okay, so do not do that. Try to understand, and that is why what I have done here is I have chosen 3 totally different networks. Data center network is totally different, right? This network is totally different, and that is why we are creating multiple templates. But believe me, if you have similar remote site, many remote site, then if you define one template, you can reuse it effectively. But you need to have a planning for that, right? Good planning for that. So the whole sole purpose is we are going to do all these things, and then once this template is done, what we are going to do is we are going to push this template from the Vmanage towards these devices. Okay, very simple, and it is in align with the Cisco's vision of intent-based networking, where what you are doing is you are defining your intent here. If I say intent, means your what exactly you want from your network, right? You're defining everything here in the form of template, and then basically this Vmanage is going to push all these things back to your devices. Similarly, in case of policies also, you define your topology here. It is going to push all the topology information to vSmart. vSmart is your intelligent device. It is going to push all those policy information to your VHS, right? Very simple. Let's create the templates now. Okay. So having said that, I'm just clearing this board, opening my remote desktop connection, and now I am in this page. So okay, my RDP connection just become unresponsive. Do not worry, I'll be back. So here you go, we are back, and now this is responsive once again. We are going to main dashboard, and everything is up and running. With respect to control connections, manages are up, no problems. And now we are going here, right? We are going step by step, guys, right? So what we are going to do here, we are going to create a template. First thing first, it is going to be, it's going to ask whether it's a device template or it's a feature template, right? Device template means it's a full umbrella where you have defined your VPNs, your system configuration, everything, right? And now what we are going to do is we are going to do first the feature configuration, right? And we are going to do this for the branch 2 because branch 2 is pretty simple. Then we go to the branch 1 where OSPF is there, and then we will go to the data center part, right? The approach is going to be simple. First, we are going to define the feature templates, right? And what I exactly want from the feature template is, again, I am repeating this thing to you. We are creating this template for branch 2 edge 1, right? What I want exactly from here is, I want this connection, right? And of course, because VPN 0 I have already defined, everything is there, but it doesn't mean that I do not need to push this configuration, right? Because we are pushing the configuration first time. We want to make sure that everything is in place there, right? VPN 0 configuration, VPN 10 configuration, right? So this is the common mistake which people do, right? They at the first time they create the template, they put all the configuration here, and they push everything back there. This shouldn't be the case, right? You need to put all the configuration at the first type, and then basically you can tweak. So we are going to create VPN 0, VPN 10, everything there, right? So if I showcase you what exactly the device template contains, right? So if I do a create template from maybe from feature template, right? So this is how basically your device template is going to be going to look. So device model, I am creating this for, say, I am creating this for vEdge Cloud, right? The template name is because it is for branch 2, right? So what I am saying, it is the configuration for branch 2, right? Edges. Description could be anything. You can write here, description could be anything. You go here, right? And then if you can see, we have so many things here. We need to define system. We need to define VPN 0 configuration. We need to define VPN 512. So whatever a system can contain, then service side VPN, we need to add that, right? But we cannot add all these things unless we have specific feature configuration, right? So we cannot create this complete, although there are default settings or the default templates, but believe me, you want to create on your own, right? The new one. So although I am creating this, you can say template for BR2 Edge, right? But I won't be using it, right? And the reason is unless I specified all the feature templates here, I won't be using it. So let's create it to begin with. But now what I'm going to do is I am just and see that we do not have any feature template, although it is showing it, but those are the default templates associated, right? Which are necessary, which are required. So now let's create the template, the feature template, right? So first thing first, what we need to define the device model, and the device model, it is going to be sorry for this. I need to create this time a feature template, right? The feature one, and I am going to do add template, and it is again asking me that for which device you want to create. I want to create for the VH Cloud device. Here you go. And now it is asking what exactly you want. What I want is I want system template first, right? And here, what I'm going to say, this is going to be my general template. I would say, guys, right? Because system information is going to be repeated everywhere, right? So template name is going to be system template, or not template, save system. You can say info, and we will be reusing it again and again. Okay. So template name. Then you are going to give the description here. Very good. And then now it is asking the site ID. So if you want to reuse this, then you have to make this site ID as a variable, right? And the reason is simple, because if you are in branch 2, your site ID is going to be 2. If you are in branch 1, your site ID is going to be 1. Similarly, in data center, your site ID is going to be 100, right? So what we are going to do here is we are going to make it as a device specific, and I will be writing down this is just nothing but the site ID. It is already there, so no problems, right? But what we are going to do is we are making it device specific. That is it. Again, the system IP, it should also be device specific, right? And then overlay ID, that is fine. And now I need to select time zone, right? So time zone, I need to select, obviously, it is going to be global for every device, and I'm going to select the Kolkata. I'm in India. Let's see where exactly it is, or let's not waste your time. So guys, it is here, the time zone Asia Kolkata. Please make sure you select your own time zone, and then we have the host name. Of course, the host name is going to be a variable because it is different for, and then we are making it sure it's a device specific parameter. Location, that's fine. Device group, that's fine. Controller groups, let's choose the baud rate also to the maximum. That's okay. And then we are good with respect to latitude, longitude, no worries. We are good here also. Advanced, I do not need to configure anything here. That's perfect. No problems. Okay. And let's save. So we have created one template. Now create one another. So we are good with respect to our system. Now let's configure the interfaces, right? So if you go, it is asking for VPN interface Ethernet, right? And we know that in our topology, it is going to be gigabit 0/1. If I showcase you the topology here, it is going to be, gigabit 0/2, right? So let's go again there. We are in VPN interface Ethernet template, right? Let's configure this. So this is going to be your BR-2 because this is going to be different for your branch 1 and branch 2. So branch 1 VH configuration we are talking about, and this is we are talking about the Ethernet side of the or the LAN side of this VH, right? Description is going to be anything, whatever you like. And now, do you want this to be shut down? No, of course not, right? So I will make sure that this is the global parameter and I do not want to be this. And now the interface name. Actually, this number should be this one, gigabit 0/0. I was writing description in interface name, so sorry for that. And here you can write the description, which I'll be saying it is going to be global. So this is basically your if I say it is going to be used across. So this is your template for your internet interface. We are going to use the same thing, right? Everywhere. Internet interface, and here you go. Here it's your interface, right? This is good. And description here is going to be your internet interface. Internet interface. This is good. So here you go. And now here I can see what should be the IPv4 address. IPv4 address should be the variable here, right? So I'll put it is going to be device specific, and make sure you write something so that you can specify. So this is the VPN 0. I'm writing internet, right? Internet interface IPv4 address. This is good. And then secondary IP address, I'm not interested. All good, all good. It is going to be tunnel interface for sure. Yes, it is going to be tunnel interface, and I am enabling the tunnel interface over it. I am not interested. What is the color on this interface? It is going to be global, and I'm choosing business internet here, right? Again, if you do not know all these concepts, just go to the theory section. Restrict, let's restrict that internet should make tunnels over internet only. Okay. Other things, we are pretty good, no issues. And we are doing this allow services all. Okay. On the global, it is on. And there are some problem that I always want to that netconf and NTP should be enabled here, right? So what I want is the global. It is again global, and then SSH is again not OSPF-1. It is again global on. This is good. I do not want to do NAT here, but maybe we are going to learn NAT options also, and we are saying save. Okay, this is good. So we are done with our 2 templates, and we are going to reuse them. So if I show you once again on this diagram, right, that what we have done till now is that we are pretty sure that we have this interface template, and we have this, sorry, not this one. We have this gigabit Ethernet 0/0 template, and we have one template for defining the system information like NTP and all, right? Now what we are going to do is we are going to define another VPN interface for gigabit Ethernet 0/2, right? So I hope you are with me. So let's define one more interface. Here you go. I am just clearing the board.